Have you ever heard that once you enter the world of photography, videography, vlogging, or anything related to camera, next thing you'd realize is there is this inner voice that would leave you with this uncontrollable desire to buy a bunch of lenses, like for real. So in this video, I decided to make a list of top lenses that I feel like you should consider buying if you're using any of the Sony full-frame cameras. But just a bit of disclaimer, I am not a professional filmmaker or photographer or whatsoever. How I wish. Like I said, I am an aspiring content creator based in the Philippines. That being said, expect that my list could be different from your list and from other people's list as well. But in any case, let's roll that intro. Before anything else, I'd like to officially welcome you to my channel. Thank you for making it past the intro. If you're into cameras, gadgets, technologies, all that good stuff, please do subscribe and hit that bell if you haven't yet. In that case, you won't miss out on anything from this channel. And oh, by the way, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for making me achieve 4,000 subscribers. I really can't do it myself alone, so thank you very much for your love and support to this channel. Having that out of the way, let's dive right into the topic. Starting off with the widest of them all, the Sony 20mm f1.8 G lens. In my personal opinion, if you're looking for a wide-angle lens, may it be for handheld vlogging, talking head videos, photography, you name it, I highly suggest you look into this. Well, I can show it to you because I'm currently using it. But it's sharp, it's fast, it has great autofocus, and so on. As a matter of fact, I mentioned this in my review of this lens that it basically performs like the 24G Master lens in a more affordable price point and more compact body. And I don't know about you, but that is a wonderful thing. Not forgetting, of course, the extra 4mm in wide, which is surprisingly useful, like for real. As to how I do things, I mainly use this lens for my talking head videos just like this one. Like everything I need for my A-roll, this lens has got it for me. Thus, I personally believe that the Sony 20mm f1.8 G lens should be in everyone's camera bag. If you want to know more about this lens, you can watch the full review after this video. I will drop the link in the description box below. Secondly, if the Sony 20mm is like the A-roll lens, you would also have to have a B-roll lens. And this is the part where I tell you about the Sigma 85mm f1.4 DGDN art lens. You might be thinking, isn't it too tight? Well, could be, yeah, sure. But if you're like me who does product reviews, I am telling you this is just perfect. It has the compression and the depth of field that will really separate your subject from your background. And in my opinion, B-rolls are for those kinds of things. Making sure that the subject has enough focus and emphasis. And so far, this lens hasn't failed me yet. Like in all honesty, the Sony 20mm plus the 85mm art lens, my YouTube workflow is kind of pretty much covered already. Even my thumbnails, 90% of the time, they were shot on this lens. Because again and again, the bokeh this lens produces is just magical. Not only that, if you're looking for a portrait lens, this is my top recommendation for you. Nothing more, nothing less. Not to mention that this is an art lens, so there is no doubt about its optic performance. That as well as its autofocus. Really, a top performing lens for many situations. If you want to know more about this lens, you can watch the full review after this video. I will drop the link in the description box below. Although the 85mm art seems like a perfect lens already, there's this one thing that I'm not super happy about it, and that is its minimum focusing distance. Clearly because of its long focal length, so totally understandable. But that's exactly why I needed to have something in between 20mm and 85mm, which is, of course, 50mm lens. And talking about 50mm lens, there's already a clear option for this. And that's the Sony 50mm f1.2 G Master lens. I honestly don't think there's still a need for me to hype this lens up. It has been marketed all over YouTube and all over the internet. You know what I'm saying? So allow me to speak based on my experiences with this lens. I personally love this lens a lot. Like from the build quality, build composition, image sharpness, autofocus, and of course, its generous f1.2 aperture. I say this all the time, I am a bokeh addict. I love obliterating the background to give enough emphasis to the subject. And since this lens could open more than wide enough, it's more than capable of doing that creamy blurry background that everyone loves. May it be for portraits, product, photo, or video, I am telling you, this lens delivers. In fact, whenever I would hit the road and I don't have like an agenda or something, this is what I bring with me. Because if the 20mm is the wide lens, the 85mm is the tight lens, the 50mm is like the right lens. Did you get that? Well, at least in terms of focal length. With this lens, I get a bit of compression while not losing so much of the perspective. And before I forget, due to its again wide aperture, this lens is my go-to whenever I'm shooting in low light conditions. Very reliable lens indeed. If there's one thing I don't like about this lens, that is its price. For a single piece of glass, I'd say it is just too much. So I get that despite the perfect optic performance of this lens, not everyone is buying it. Oh well. But nevertheless, if you have the means and the capacity, I always say this, that you gotta invest on lenses more than you invest on camera bodies. Especially now that camera brands are non-stop in releasing amazing camera bodies. What you call that? A7IV? Oh yeah, that one. Okay. If you want to know more about this lens, you can watch the full review after this video. I will drop the link in the description box below. At this point, we're practically done with what I call the holy trinity of prime lenses. Either you're a photographer or videographer, with just those three earlier, you are more than powerful enough. But let's say you want to be more versatile and more adaptive. Because yes, prime lenses are great, I'll never take that back. But assuming you're out and about and you only have the 50mm with you, I guarantee you, it will be hard to take group photos with it, especially if you are in a small room or something. It will also be difficult to shoot landscapes with it, and the list goes on. In this case, you gotta have a zoom lens in your bag. And as for our fourth lens, it's going to be the Sigma 28-70mm f2.8 DGD and contemporary lens. You might be asking, why not the Sigma 24-70 art lens? Well, don't jump on me yet, hear me out. It's definitely the Sigma 24-70 art lens, no doubt about that. However, we're down to our fourth lens, meaning at this point, you now have three monster prime lenses. So getting a monster zoom lens is kind of overkill in my opinion, which is still okay. Like I said, invest on lenses, like go for it. But the thing is, the Sigma 28-70mm is not that bad at all, like for real. It is in fact a fantastic lens. Even I was surprised about it. Let's put it this way, if the Sony 20mm does perform like a 24G master lens, then the Sigma 28-70 does perform like the 24-70 art lens at a lower price point and a smaller body. Again, that is just my opinion, and that is basically the main reason why I chose this over the art lens. The entire time I was using it, I didn't have any problems with the autofocus, image sharpness, focal range, and whatnot. Thus, if you don't want to bring your prime lenses, the Sigma 28-70mm is a great all-around everyday lens. If you want to know more about this lens, you can watch the full review after this video. I will drop the link in the description box below. Finally, down to our very last lens. But before that, just a quick recap. We now have three reliable prime lenses and one zoom lens for everything. What we're missing is a telephoto lens. And while there are so many options out there, what I recommend is the Tamron 150-500mm f5 to f6.7 telephoto lens. Mind you, I put this as our fifth and final lens as I don't think many people needs a telephoto lens. Like I myself, I don't do wildlife photography or videography just yet. I also live in the city, so I don't find the use of this lens as much as I do with the other four lenses, but still made it to our list purely because of its overall performance. Like I was blown away when I finally used it. It does have great autofocus, incredible build quality, sharp image outputs, and get this, it has VC, the vibration compensation. That's Tamron's version of in-lens stabilization. And believe me, for a lens with this focal range, any form of stabilization is gold. So although I haven't done any wildlife shoots yet, I was able to use it mainly for portraits. And man, this lens killed it, like for real. Again and again, thanks to its generous focal range, 150-500mm. Can you believe that? I don't know about you, but that is quite generous. Good job, Tamron. If you want to know more about this lens, you can watch the full review after this video. I will drop the link in the description box below. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my top lenses for both photography and videography. Like I honestly believe that if you have those 5 lenses, either you're doing professional gigs or content creation, you are definitely covered. But of course, I know there are a lot of amazing lenses out there that didn't make it to my list. So you tell me, what are your top 5 lenses for your Sony full-frame camera? You may comment them down below. There you go, folks. I am sure I wasn't able to cover everything, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section, or we can connect on Instagram or on Facebook. As I end, if you're getting value from this video, please do like and subscribe for more not super technical but rather practical approach to gadgets and technologies. Until then, thank you for watching. Like in all honesty, the Sony 20mm plus the 85mm art lens, my YouTube workflow is kind of pretty much my YouTube workflow is pretty much covered. Even my thumbnails, 95. Not to mention that this is an art lens, so there is no doubt about its optical, and that's exactly why I needed to have something. Hello, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4. I guarantee you. Oh, like I said, invest on lenses and but that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my top 5 full frame lenses. Top 5 full frame lenses. Daming F. But of course, I know there are. I'm recording 1 hour straight, so this is to test the Sony A7C's no record limit. Pretty impressive. Yeah.